In this 3-minute game review, we're looking at Songs of Conquest. So hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. Songs of Conquest is an early access turn-based tactical strategy game reminiscent of the classic Heroes of Might and Magic series, with a few modern twists thrown into the mix. Songs of Conquest is a love letter to the classics of the 90s and early 2000s, and its use of beautifully coloured pixel art and hand-drawn sprites definitely give off the right vibes. The game also has some beautifully drawn cutscenes and songs to boot.
With grim conviction rose Cecilia of stout heart to crush rebellions and push back another upstart.
Aside from the game's namesake songs, it also boasts a soundtrack that fits its fantasy themes. Songs of Conquest plays nearly exactly like Heroes of Might and Magic. Units move across tiles, fighting with melee and ranged attacks, and can sometimes use special abilities. Your main character, known as a wielder, can also cast magic to either bolster your troops, damage enemies, or set traps and barriers to restrict movement. In Songs of Conquest, things like positioning and elevation make a much bigger difference, so much so that it could make or break a battle. Players can choose from 4 different factions, each with different troop types, buildings and technologies. All 4 of them play very differently. Outside of combat, things get a little bit different. Cities and settlements are no longer managed from a screen, but rather built on the world map itself. Settlements now have limited slots of different sizes, and the size of each slot restricts the kind of building you can construct. So that means cities are no longer a copy of each other, and there will be a lot more thought going into the planning of your economy and buildings. Research is also a lot more in-depth now. With a tight balance in resources, players now have to decide early on and commit to specific lines of research that complement your playstyle and troop combinations. Aside from the rehashing of classic game mechanics, there are countless quality of life improvements, like quick movements across the map, easier management of multiple armies, and overall less UI and informational clutter for the player. Probably the only downside, I would say, is that I wish there were more diplomatic options, especially during the main campaigns. But that's it, raising an army and stomping your enemies is still good fun all the same. The main stories and setting of its amazing fantasy world is well told and shown through its 2 rather lengthy campaigns. The characters are memorable and the writing is great, but be warned as the game is not voiced, so be prepared to do lots of reading. There are currently only 2 main campaigns to play through, but the inclusion of a detailed map editor and ease of integration of community-made maps will definitely ensure a never-ending stream of adventures and conquests. Many would-be spiritual successors of the Heroes and Might and Magic series have come and gone, and Songs of Conquest clearly has all the heart, love, and effort put into a worthy love letter to the classics. But beyond that, Songs of Conquest is so much more. With well thought out and tested improvements over the old gameplay mechanics, and contemporary improvements over basic things like UI, combat, and economic management, the game would be equally as fun for the new player as it is for the old. Even in its early access state, I would highly recommend everyone to give Songs of Conquest a try. If you're craving for more turn-based RPGs or turn-based strategy games, check out our other videos. Otherwise, like and subscribe for more 3-minute game reviews.